this week has just got progressively worse, and we don't know if this life is feasible. Like, what does that look like? I don't know the answer to that. That's not, I don't have the answer to that. What does it look like? If she's got a condition that will progressively get worse.
Don't adjust your TV sets because there's nothing wrong with your television. It's my voice that's gone wrong. It's broken. Anytime I ring anybody, I keep having to say to them, don't worry, it's not the phone signal, it's me. I feel like I've got funny phone signal in my head. So I think the gist of where I am right now is that I'm in a relapse from either ME or MS. I'm not sure which because I haven't got the full MS diagnosis yet. Previously, when I've had relapses, I have struggled with slurring my speech a little bit, but it's not as noticeable as obviously what this is. And this has actually improved quite a bit over the last couple of days. But yeah, what can I say? I've been in for some surgery today as well, just to top it all off. I don't really know what I'm explaining. At the moment, Reese has gone for a walk, and I just thought I'll get the camera set up and jump on. He's very concerned if my illness continues to deteriorate, what that's going to look like in a van, and whether we'd be able to manage it, whether we need to rethink things for the future. My feeling on it is that just like Daisy's had her operation and she's bouncing back, is that I will always just keep going no matter what happens. Sometimes I have to stop and I have to rest, and like anybody with any kind of autoimmune issue, what you see on the surface is often not the full story of what's going on behind closed doors, because you kind of learn, I suppose, to mask a lot of it, but also you just build up a resilience and a tolerance to the pain that you have and the fatigue that you have. And I think I just wanted to kind of say that if you've got anybody in your family or your friendship group that struggles with autoimmune, just because it might not be obvious and it's classed as a hidden illness, it's not hidden if you look close enough. It's only hidden if you choose not to see it. And a lot of the time, what we do is we just crack on. And so the things that we're suffering with underneath, such as pain and lack of sleep and twitching and brain fog and all sorts of other issues, it's those are the things that you can't maybe see obviously, but when something like this happens and it's more obvious with the speech, kind of everybody's really concerned at that point as to whether you're okay or not. And actually, to me, this is just another symptom on top of many other symptoms, and hopefully it's going to right itself. A week ago, my face all dropped on one side, and that happens to me every now and again, and it comes back. Sometimes it takes a few hours, sometimes it takes a few weeks, and this time it's come back within a week, so it's not been too bad. But I am getting a lot of burning and strange feeling around my eye, and I think from what I've researched, it's due to a cranial pressure. I think the answer is probably going to be a strong course of steroids to reduce inflammation. It's inflammation, not pressure. And so hopefully this will right itself. If it doesn't, our vlogs are going to be very long going forward. I don't really know what else to say from that, really. Just that I don't have any intention on giving up van life at all, despite the fact that Reese wants me to stop right now and just rest. And I am doing that. I am just completely resting, because that's one of the things is you have to take away any additional stress or pressure or anything, but me sharing my life and resharing his life with you is not stressful for me.
I've come up to the woods just to kind of so I can talk openly in front of the camera without kind of worrying Emma and stuff like that. It's just about trying to keep upbeat, innit? Trying to smile through it and stuff. But it's worrying, it's a worrying time. Emma has these relapses, as you know, but never this particular speech problem is significantly bad, like that specific part. Yeah, don't even know what to say to the camera, to be honest with you. Just really difficult, wondering if we can continue the way we're living. Can we, can't we? I don't know. Emma's very positive. I'm trying to be very positive. I am very positive. And I'm sure we're going to pull through this. I'm sure we're going to be back to full swing. It just feels like everything has kind of come at once. Is this the best thing? Like, is it the best way of doing it? I don't know. But I think the way that we're living is the best way when you've got illnesses. I really do. You're out in nature a lot, and it's just healing from nature. Do you know what I mean? And Emma loves that. Like, she loves to be in nature, in the van. Like, that's where she loves to be. I think it's my protective. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're sort of like, right, let's just stop. Let's look after you, Emma. Like, let's, all that kind of stuff makes it very difficult. And this is the reality. You can't get much more real than this of life on the road. Like, this is what most, I guess, won't show you. Like, my instincts were to just put a post out, I'll be honest, and just sort of say we can't film this week. And then we were like, no, let's share it, Somebody might find it helpful, and it shows what life is like sometimes on the road for us, and for other people as well. Like, it's not all butterflies and rainbows and streams and mountains, you know what I mean? It's sometimes you don't know what to do, and sometimes you don't know what to do for the best, and sometimes, it is very difficult because you've got the same realities as what everybody else has got. It's a worrying time, and who knows what the future's going to hold. If Emma gets worse, we have to put Emma first. So yeah, difficult.
So that were a few days ago, about 3 or 4 days ago now. And as you'll notice, my speech, I think, has improved massively over the last 24 hours, probably more than anything else. This vlog I've been really struggling with it. I don't want to stop vlogging and showing you guys what is going on in our lives. Like, yes, of course, I'm completely resting. Of course, I'm doing nothing else at all, and I'm just resting. But a big part of my keeping myself well and keeping going and keeping fighting with what I have is doing these vlogs, is being a part of this community. So I absolutely categorically do not want to stop that, because also I'd have no memories whatsoever if I didn't do that. The main point, I suppose, in this vlog is to give you an update on where we are, but also it's bigger than that. It's about showing you and talking to you, because so many of you out there will have the same problems or similar problems to what I have, showing you how that impacts you when you're on the road. We are all positive and smiles and, trying to look on the bright side of everything all the time. But also we have trials and tribulations like anybody else does. And unfortunately, with this health issue that I have, and Daisy's health, sometimes those are bigger than maybe the average problems, I suppose. Over the last few weeks, I've had a really significant relapse. I think probably one of the worst relapses that I've ever had in my illnesses. So I've got various diagnoses such as ME, fibromyalgia. I have something called overactive bladder syndrome, which means that I can't control my own bladder properly. I also have concussive syndrome, which means that I struggle to make new memories and also struggle to remember a lot of the things that have gone on in the past for me in my life as well. And various other things as well within that. But those diagnoses are what they are, and they're not going to change. But I also have suspected MS as well, which is where over the last 2 years or so, I've noticed that my health started to decline quite significantly, and I've found it harder to use the tools that I've used before to keep myself well. And as demands and certain things in my life have changed, and certain things have become increasingly demanding, I've found it very difficult to utilise the things that I've utilised before, because I was already struggling, and now that's made it even worse. And so the things that I kind of struggle with, I suppose, are, which if you've got any of these things, they're all autoimmune diseases. The ME, fibromyalgia, suspected MS are all autoimmune. And those things cause fatigue, severe fatigue. Fatigue is not like being tired. It's so annoying when you say to somebody that you're feeling really kind of exhausted and somebody says, oh yeah, I get tired as well. It's not being tired. It's like running a marathon every single morning of your life and then trying to get up and do all the things that you would normally do in a normal day, and doing that every single day and knowing that's not going to change. You use this technique called pacing, which is kind of understanding where your body is at that moment. It's different for everybody, and knowing when to stop. And that can be something that might be a monthly thing for some people, where they have to just stop. For some people, it can be every few hours, you know. And for me, over the last year, certainly, it's become harder to manage, a lot harder to manage. And it's become where I get what they call post-exertional malaise, which is where you can do something and it might take a few hours, it might take a few days even, where you suddenly have this impact and this hit from whatever activity you've done. And that might be something mental, it might be something physical, but you're just wiped out, and you can be wiped out for days and unable to do very much. And my thing has always been that I will not sit back and just give up on life. I won't. I need to fight and I need to push through wherever I can. But there are times when I can't push through and I have to stop. So it is a real balance. And it gets to a point where when you get quite bad with it, when it becomes where your illness has maybe progressed a bit, which is what I feel has happened to me, where you can't manage that anymore by pacing. It's not possible to manage it anymore in that way, in terms of doing everyday things that people will do, whether that be working or cleaning or whatever, it's even self-care, whatever it may be. Sometimes you get to a point where that pacing just isn't going to manage it anymore. And that's where I've kind of hit, and that's where I've hit this sort of major relapse over the last few weeks. On top of all of that, I found a mole that had turned into a square, which was very unusual. It didn't look right at all. It was like a centimetre and a half by a centimetre square. And previously to that, it looked like a normal mole. I've had to go in for that looking at. As soon as they've seen that, they've immediately sent me in to the theatre to have it removed, and they've taken quite a big chunk. It's normal for them to take a couple of extra mil all the way around, which is what the intention was to start with. But when the surgeons had a look at it, they've removed a good inch square. So I've got quite a big chunk that's been taken away. That's very sore. And they're sending that away for testing, so I won't get the results back from that for about 6 weeks. That's obviously mentally a little bit of a weight. I think it's more of a weight on Reese's mind than it is on mine, because I'm very much in life where life is what it is, and I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be around into my 90s. So there's nothing that kind of really worries me about that. All my family live a very long life, and I've always had this absolute determination that I will live till I'm very old. So it isn't something that massively weighs on my mind, but I know it does weigh on Reese's, despite the fact that he keeps the momentum up and keeps the kind of the, I don't know, that what would you call it? They keeps my spirits up, I suppose. It's really hard for me doing something like this because it's keeping that train of thought going just while I'm talking to you is very difficult. I'm instantly forgetting what the point is. I'm instantly forgetting what I'm trying to talk about, what I'm trying to get across to you. And so because a lot of our vlogs are not about getting a point across and keeping that going, and if they are, Reese usually does that side of things. I'm usually just kind of, you know, enjoying something and telling you about that moment and what I'm enjoying, or something that I'm concerned about in that moment, and that's fine. I can do those things, but trying to keep a thread running in my mind is becoming increasingly difficult. So I apologise if I'm drifting off a topic, but I think, yeah, the point is to just tell you that those things where they affect you, it affects fatigue for me, it affects, at the moment, my speech. Sometimes in the past I've had it affect my speech as well, but more in a kind of slurring way, or mixing up letters from words, mixing up words, that type of thing. Recently it's the mixing up of the letters and this delayed speech where it kind of feels a bit stunted in how I'm talking. But it affects my movement, it affects pain. I have pain every single moment of every single day. I can absolutely tell you there is not a moment in my life where I am not feeling some sort of pain. But you build a resilience to that level of pain. And what is my level 5, if you like, might be somebody else who doesn't have this. That might be their level 10. So you become quite adept at managing pain and managing how you show that to other people. For me, that's a really big thing. I don't like showing people how I feel. I don't like doing this. I don't really like sharing about it too much because I don't want to be the poorly person. I think a big part of ME for me is that if I become the poorly person, then it's quite easy for things to become, I don't know how, where you just allow them to happen. You just kind of, so ME is one of those things where if somebody says to you, oh, it's in your head, it's in your mind, it makes you really angry at that response that you get from people, and you get that a lot from like medical profession, where it's your emotions, you need to go home and rest. It's not your emotions, but your emotions and stress do have a massive impact on it. But it's how your brain, so there might be physically nothing wrong, like you might have extreme pain in your wrists, you could have them scanned, you could have medication for them, nothing's going to take that pain away, and there's nothing wrong. They look on a scan, there's nothing wrong with your wrist, but you're in extreme pain in your wrist for that day or that week. And that is obviously therefore in your head, but it's not like you're making it up in your head. It's how your brain and your pain receptors and is responding to something. So your immunity is overreacting, over responding. Your pain receptors are over responding. So you are therefore feeling things that to you are very real, because any pain is your brain's response to it. Simple as that. You have people that have illnesses that they don't ever feel pain. And you know, you may have seen it on television and things where children can break bones and they feel nothing, and that's a specific illness. But it's very kind of, it's like that. It doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong with you. It's an illness whereby your brain is doing the wrong thing. So at the moment, this speech thing is something to do with my brain, I think, responding and over responding in a way that it shouldn't be. But at the moment, I haven't had a scan to rule other things out, because they want to rule out whether there's a possibility of a stroke or things like that, because I had a facial drop as well. I don't think it's that. I think it's my brain over responding to things. And because your brain can do that, I feel that I have to be very conscious to not be the poorly person, because I have to be very conscious that I tell my brain I'm not accepting it doing that. People manage this in very different ways. I take elements of what I've been taught to do by various specialist clinics that I've had over the years, but a lot of it is how I've best learnt to manage myself as well, so that I can live a life, have fun, go out, do things, still be able to do work, earn money, that type of thing, but not be in a position where I'm sat either doing nothing because I'm in a real relapse, or sat doing nothing to try and prevent a relapse. Going forward, where do we go with it? Because there is chances, even with whether it's ME, whether they maybe one day diagnose MS. I'll explain why that's a problem in a minute. But whatever label they put on this, which I really don't care about labels in the slightest, I'm really not bothered about labels. I just want to do the best thing that I can do to look after my body and look after my mind, my health. And so where do we go from this? Because it could affect, and has in the past affected me walking. I've been in wheelchairs before for shorter and longer periods of time. I've had to use sticks an awful lot. I still use a support to walk, which is Daisy's pram. I use that because it makes me feel less poorly. But, you know, it can affect your mobility an awful lot, because your brain can overreact to something and stop you from being able to walk. It can stop you from being able to sleep. I have huge sleep problems. Circling back around to why I can't have the MS diagnosis, that is because as part of my problem with my bladder many years ago, I was part of an initial set of people that had an implant put in. I had that reoperated on a number of times because the wiring went wrong. It burnt nerves out in my spine. They've since left some metal in my spinal column, which they can't get out, which now means that I can't have an MRI. And an MRI is how they predominantly diagnose MS now. So that's left me in a bit of no man's land as to that diagnosis. And I'm not really overly bothered about that unless it's about accessing treatment that might really help. If you watch us, you'll know that I try and avoid a lot of mainstream medical treatment, because I've tried all of those, tried just about everything they can give me. I have huge reactions to medication, whether that's because of the ME, I don't know, but I overreact to a lot of the medications, so I'll end up with, it will aggravate my IBS, it will make it so that I get skin irritation, or it makes me feel like I'm not in the room, I can't concentrate, even worse than normal, I get huge brain fog, I get huge problems with concentration. It affects me being able to do one thing after another, like keep up a process of what I need to be doing. So it affects lots of different things, all different medications I've tried. At one point I was on about 4 different medications and literally unable to walk. So I came off of those with the support of my GP about 6 years ago, and I have replaced that with making sure I eat properly, awful lot of different supplements, herbal medications, aromatherapy, physiotherapy, Bowen therapy. It puts on a lot more things to do rather than just taking a tablet, but I've found that that does help to treat more of the cause than the symptom. And therefore, if my body to me is then showing a symptom like I am now with the speech, it's telling me that something in my environment is not right, that I need to change, because I can listen to the cues that my body is giving me, because I'm not on all these different medications that are giving me different cues that I don't know, therefore, which to listen to. And that's how I manage my health and my well-being, and by various other self-help things as well. But there may be something, if it's MS, where I would need to take something to try and prevent a progression, and I may not have access to that if I can't get the diagnosis, and that's where that's a kind of key thing that I might need to look at.
And so that's a little bit of what life is like for Emma on the road, you know, and bless her heart, she gives it her all. She gives life her all. That's one thing that Emma teaches me, is that she gives it everything she's got every single day without fail. She is the most fun, loving person I think I've ever met. Um, and, you know, it makes you smile when somebody's like that around you, bless her. And she, even though she's in pain, she gives it 110%. She's laughing, she's joking constantly. And behind some of that is this immense pain that I can't even imagine what it's like to live with that. And so for me, you know, as we put Daisy first, like, it's all about what Emma feels she can do.
Anything that I no longer can do, we eliminate. We eliminate as much stress as possible from my life so that I can actually still live and not end up completely debilitated. And we do what makes me feel better and what makes me feel happier and what I can manage. And so for us, that is being away somewhere hot, preferably away from a coastal area where it's drier, heat makes me feel a lot better. So that is the next plan for me, is to get us somewhere where it's hot. And that at the minute isn't possible because of Daisy and because I'm waiting on test results. All of these things are all ifs, buts, maybes. We don't know the answer to all of these things, but that can be the case in life anyway, can't it?
And we will just move with the times, you know, we'll just move with it, and we'll keep on keeping on, and we'll keep on smiling, you know, we'll keep on having a laugh and a joke. It's just this week, this month really, it started with Daisy, and then life has just thrown stuff at us. This week has been particularly difficult, for Emma in particular. And so, yeah, that's just life, and it sometimes it's just life, and it's important to share this side of van life, particularly when you're traveling in a van like we do. That this is, you know, this is sometimes life, you know, and sometimes you have to adapt, don't you? You have to adapt and change what's right in front of you.
And I think right now, from my perspective, I want to try and do what I've always done and just crack on. Crack on, but whilst eliminating everything else that is going to cause any kind of level of stress, and making sure that I don't put myself into something that is not recoverable from, if that makes sense. Because I'm at that point with this relapse where it has frightened me, because I've been scared that I'm not going to come back from it. More scared than I've ever been that I'm not going to come back from it. Because I've pushed myself way too far. I've had too much expectation on myself and expectation on me that I've pushed myself too far. So it is just about trying to pull that back, reassess, reevaluate, be realistic in what I can and can't do, and do the things that I enjoy. And this is not particularly today's vlog, but this is what I enjoy, is being a part of this community, and it's something that I can do in my own time, on my own terms, and at a level of where I feel capable of doing, and I don't have to push myself at all. I can do a bit here, a bit there. I can do more when I feel better. I can do less when I don't feel better. And so this is what works for me. But everything else needs to stop, really.
While this isn't particularly an enjoyable topic, it's healthy to talk to the camera, it's healthy to talk to you guys. And also, we don't want to suddenly have like a cut-off point. So we don't want life is epic, van life's epic, we're on the road, living free, and then it suddenly goes quiet for however many weeks with, you know, very little explanation, and then all of a sudden it's like, van life's epic, van life's brilliant. Like, you've missed that chunk of the reality. Do you know what I mean? And we don't want you to miss out that chunk of reality, just in case you're thinking about living on the road and doing van life, you have to see it from all angles so that you can make the best decision possible for you to go, is that life really for me? But even through this, like sat here in beautiful woods in this park up, you know, and it's like little birds chirping still, like life, nature goes on around you, and that is so healing. And after last week's vlog where I had that kind of epiphany moment, that realization, I've been practicing that every single day. You know, Emma's good at that anyway, like Emma's really good at that, being still and just being in one place. It's something I've had to learn, and I'm having to learn more and more. And this has taught me a massive lesson that sometimes life isn't going 1,000 miles down the road all the time. Sometimes when you're traveling in a van, it's just sitting while you're dealing with a real situation.
The answer to where do we go from here is we don't know.